Hello, happy Saturday. We have a fun video this week because we are looking at the new palette from Laura. So I got a few new sets from Laura this week and I'm going to play around with two of them. I did have a poll up on what people wanted to see and the answer was what I expected. Which was the new shimmer palette, but there's also a new metallic palette. Sorry, not a new metallic palette, a new neon palette. And honestly, I want to have a play with that. So, you can barely hear me. This is fun. How are we now? I've turned off noise cancellation. It's not actually all that loud today in the house. And hopefully that works better. But let me know if it's still not working. I haven't had these mics for all that long and I've been pretty happy with them, but if they're starting to not work, that's disappointing. Yeah, that's disappointing if they're starting to not work, because I think I've only had them for 2 or 3 months. Is there anything that I can change in there? No. Alright, let's go to settings. That only changes monetization. Alright. This is going to be really frustrating if I have to reach out to this company. Alright. Does mic number 2 work any better? Or are they both being weird? Better now. So mic 2 works and mic 1 doesn't. That's going to be an interesting email to this brand. That's fun. All right. So we have 2 palettes from Cozmick Creations to play with, and I am very excited. So welcome back to the channel. We are going to start with Laura's Oceanside Sunset palette. It is the newest metallic palette to her lineup, and I believe they were all brand new colors. So let's pull swatch cards. 6, 7, 8. Let's pull some black. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. Let's ditch the matte water. And so we have Orange Sunset, Golden Sunset, this is yellow, Yellow Sunset, True Blood, Violet Sunset, Muscadine, question mark, Magenta Sunset, and Black Sunset. So let's wet these all. And we're actually going to let these sit for a second. I should have wet these before we began, but I was not that organized today. All right, so most are new, but 2 of them aren't. So True Blood and this purple aren't new. but the rest are new to this palette. So let's flip these all around so they're the right way. And start labeling. So if it's a palette set, I do include what palette it's from on my swatch card, just because I don't tend to keep things in their palettes and I want to know what sets things were part of, so that if I do ever want to use them in a palette again, I can put them back together. But I find storing everything in the palettes they came in really annoying, just space-wise. Golden Sunset. Oh no. Which means True Blood is next. I don't think I've got True Blood in my palette yet. But it does look like it's maybe a chrome red, which I also don't have yet. I don't think I actually have a chrome red from any brand. All right, one left. We just have Black Sunset left. Well, I'm excited to try it then. If you liked it enough, you bought a kilo of this pigment, I am highly excited to try it. Oceanside Sunset. So I've also got my black swatches. I haven't labeled them yet. I will label them at some point. But black swatches are a pain to label because you have to label them with a gel pen, and notoriously gel pens clog in these swatching videos. So I'm going to swatch them, and I'm just going to be very careful that I keep the swatches with the paints because I'm not going to label them in this video like the insane person I am. But also, in the time that it took me to label, these paints absorbed everything I put on them, except the magenta. So, let's get into this. Let's stack these all up, because we're going to start with the yellow and just work our way down. So this is the yellow. Oh, that's quite pretty. It feels lighter than canary. I don't own that many yellow shimmers. I don't use, as a color group, the yellows that I own are all sort of in the same sort of color family. That doesn't make sense. They're all pretty similar. This one's like a nice light yellow. Except it's been ages since I've swatched shimmers, and I apparently can no longer swatch them evenly on black. We're going to accept that as good enough. It's very pretty. I'm going to tuck that up there. We'll tuck the crab out of the way for now. Then we've got Golden Sunset, which sort of reminds me of, oh, whose color is it? Is it Rich Gold? Yeah, it's got very Rich Gold vibes, but I honestly can't think of who made Rich Gold. Their shop no longer exists, though. But I think I'm really going to enjoy the color story of this palette. There we go. Slightly better. That one actually sort of looks like I know how to swatch shimmers. I honestly don't think I've just sat down and swatched shimmers since December. Has it really been that long? Yeah. I have not sat down just to swatch shimmers since December. Wow. That's crazy. Orange Sunset. Oh, that's fun. This is weird Strathmore paper. It's got a sizing issue that I can already tell, but that's why I use it for these little swatch cards. Because I don't need them to be perfect. I just need them to tell me what color it is. This is so much fun. I want it to pop like this on black. If what I think is correct, this might be my favorite sort of off-the-shelf shimmer palette currently available from a brand, purely because none of these have I don't think any of these are going to go gold when you put them on black. which is one of my least favorite things in a shimmer, is when it's super colorful on white and then you put it on black and all you see is gold because the color was not actually the color of the shimmer. But I don't think that's going to be the case with any of these. So True Blood. Oh, I think I found my new favorite red. If this is red on black, oh, there's something to be said for a good red shimmer watercolor. Oh, I'm in love. All right, please be red on black. I'm so happy. Literally, this video could end here and I'd be so happy. I remember taking months when I started to buy handmade watercolors and big brands shimmers. It probably took me a year to find a red that looked red on black. It is really hard to do. Most red pigments turn brown when you put them on black. That's a true red on black. I'm so happy. Honestly. Oh, I don't know what I'm going to use it for yet. Oh. And as many palettes as Laura and I have worked on, I didn't have any insight into this palette because this was created for Amber and Madeline's trip, I believe. And so I had no idea what I was getting until I received it, other than having seen Laura's swatches. Laura had sent me a couple pictures of things she'd done with it. This sort of reminds me of Purple if Purple was darker. Maybe we'll pull out the shimmer book once this is all swatched. Oh, my joy at seeing a color I love. Oh, that's pretty. It's got like a hot pink sparkle to it. That's fun. You can really see that hot pink pop on the black. Magenta. Yeah, I didn't add more water to you. Sort of reminds me of think it was Narani Blueberry. But again, that shop no longer exists. It's a fun color. Yeah, I like it. I don't think anything's going to beat that red, honestly. A red that looks red on black is always going to be one of my favorite things. Or a good silver. Those are always going to be top tier metallics for me. And I definitely see why Laura purchased a kilogram of that True Blood pigment, because it's stunning. Black. Blacks always sort of have that like charcoal gray, silvery look on black paper, but on white paper, I would say it's probably the blackest shimmer I have. So shall I go and grab the swatch book and we can do some comparisons while this dries? Because I'm sure that I don't have anything that black in my book. I'm sure that the closest black I have isn't nearly that black. So, let's look at the book. Let's look at the book, look at the book, look at the book. I don't know that this is still a color, but that's that's Sunset next to Frosty Sage. Or I would say that's pretty black. Canary Yellow, which I also don't think is still a yellow. So it still sort of falls somewhere in the middle of those two. It's darker than Frosty Sage, but lighter than Canary Yellow. The Oceanside Sunset. So we don't have a green. What's next, actually? Oh, next we're going to purples. Do we? Yes. I don't think this color still exists, but there's a very old Cozmick Creations color, which was lapis. And it's sort of similar. Oceanside Sunset is sparklier and has a blue shimmer to it, which lapis doesn't really have. Or Violet Sunset. That's it next to Black Grape, which again, I don't think is still a color that Laura carries. That is the downside of my book going back 4 years, is that I stopped marking things that were discontinued because it got too hard. There's this next to Jester's Jade. It's got a similar like glitter effect, but I would say that Jester's Jade is significantly lighter than that purple. There's it next to Paisley Park. So tone-wise, they're not all that different. finish-wise, they're very different. Paisley Park is a chrome and Magenta Sunset is not. So it's just the look you're going for if you want. And I guess Paisley Park in this light on camera looks a bit more blue undertoned, but in reality it's not all that much different looking from my end. What else do we have? We have oranges and we have reds. There's Vamp, which has been my favorite Cozmick Creations red for a very long time, which, as you can see, like, is pretty red on black. I would say that True Blood is less cool. Vamp is darker. What else do we have left? We have Golden Sunset, and we have Orange Sunset. Yeah, I'd say it's pretty close to Color Love Bronze, but it's a very pretty color. And there's nothing that I have from Laura that's similar to it. Do I have any orange that's close to that? I don't own a single orange that's close to this. Because there's Mandarin, and that's too dark. And there's orange. And if you, like, it's significantly brighter than either of those two. So that's a very different orange than any orange I have in my palette, which is always exciting. It's rare these days that I get something totally different. What's left? Black. I don't think I own a single black. Oh, I've got Black Star. How do we compare to Black Star? Well, Black Star's a gray. I would say, Laura, that even though you don't feel like this is a true black, compared to Black Star, it's pretty black. So, there is the Oceanside Sunset palette. It is in the shop currently. It is brand new, and it's really fun. It's different than what I currently have. And if it's different than what I currently have with my massive shimmer palette, I think it's probably different than what a lot of people have. It's a fun mix of sort of different finishes. You've got some chrome, you've got some sort of normal ones, you've got some that have different tonal glitters in them. It's a fun palette to play with. I'm excited to paint with it. I'll probably paint with it this week. And yeah, it's pretty fun.